Hey, good morning, Patriots. It's another great day in the USA, and it's the week of Thanksgiving. So we're all thankful. You're thankful. We're thankful. We're thankful that you're thankful. That you're thankful that we're thankful. It's like Kamala Harris is thankful that she's in Hawaii, or was at least, and she's not here with us. Uh, well, in spirit maybe, but probably not. But who is here with us in spirit and in reality is Chris Cordani. Good morning, Chris.
As something of a reality, I say, but it is Monday morning, and as you know, I
Yeah,
like Mondays about as much as either Garfield or the Boomtown Rats.
yeah. It's been an interesting weekend, huh? I saw the Army didn't win against Notre Dame. That sucks. They
Oh, I didn't
they
think it
go
would
to
be that
nine to
bad.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was yeah 9-1, but they're still, I guess, 25th in the ratings
22nd. Yep,
overall.
they're
Twenty
number
second.
they're number 22. It's
Yeah,
still good, and they still have a shot at their own league's championship, so that's not bad. They're playing
yeah.
Tulane. The matchup against Tulane is going to be big for them. That'll show whether they get the championship of their league, and of course they go whichever bowl they go to, I guess. But they're not going to the championship. Notre Dame is that much of a powerhouse, and it looks like they could even win it all.
The only game I'm really worried about, to be honest, is the Army Navy game. All this other stuff is just kind of like, yeah, it's window dressing. It's like if they do well, wonderful, but I just want them to beat Navy. No offense to the folks from the Navy watching, just saying. So go Army, beat Navy. Just we'll see
Yeah.
how that rolls, right, Chris?
Well, as I said, it's yeah. Again, go Army, beat Navy. That's I'm a big fan,
Right.
and the reason is I said it before here. They're the home team for us. We don't have a real college team in Orange County, New York.
That's correct. Well, you
There-
live like don't you live on like the outskirts of don't you get like regular artillery fire from the campus? Don't they fire at your house? The
Yes,
Army?
because yeah, friendly fire to my house. I guess there's a reason for that. I don't know, but
Like every other weekend, you
that
got
might
a 105 artillery piece sitting on your in your yard.
yeah that
Order the
might
chicken
stop
coop.
after the 20th of January, but that's a different story for a different day.
That's true. That could happen. So anyway, well, it's good to see everybody here. We're just rolling, getting going. The other thing, we're going to go through. We're going to have some interesting guests this week. We are,
Right.
and then next
Yes.
week too, because as for those who are watching over the weekend, Newsmax put me into an interesting segment, which I didn't really expect. I work for Newsmax, so I show up when I'm supposed to, just saying. And I showed up for an interview Saturday with Nick Pope.
Oh,
It was, and it was about UFOs. And
no,
so
wait. The politically
all
correct
right,
term, I believe, is UAP now, right?
all right. Yeah, you're right. You are. Yes. Hey-oh.
Yo, you've
So
you've
UAPs. And so Nick Pope and I reached out to each other, and we have one of our rock and roll friends who's into this, right? Jack Hughes,
yes, and
Wang
we're
Wang Chung. So we'll
yep.
see if we can get them all together for this, right? It'll be an interesting discussion.
On one of your shows, we're going to get this done. We'll get
Yeah,
Nick, we'll get Jack. I think Jeremy, if Jack comes on, Jeremy, who reps him a lot, he might want to come on and check this out. But
good.
we had
We
a
should
nice
do that.
discussion. We had a nice
Yeah.
discussion on this on the Outhouse Lounge with Jack Hughes and the like,
Well,
and
that's what I'm
you.
saying. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, because I mean, next thing I know, it's mainstream. I'm actually talking about it on the channel, and I've been on with Nick before, but on News Nation about 2 years ago.
Ah,
And yeah, it was like, yeah, I'm happy to talk about it. I just like, oh, okay, and I referenced documents and novels and not novels, documents and books which have been written on it, which outline the issue. So it's like, sure, I can talk about it. I think it was very interesting. So just and by the way, the Navy, I see the folks are going nuts in the chat. The Navy is a good service. They're not as good as the Army, but they're a good service. Just saying. And I think we're older than the Navy, but the Navy, by the way, to circle the square, has had a lot of reports of UAPs, UAVs, underwater and above water uh, unidentified vehicles. So just saying, it's a thing that I think worth discussing. Don't you think, Chris?
yes, it is. And what was it? The Army Navy game. What is that this year?
On the 1st of December, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I know.
It's around the
The
corner.
match.
I
Yeah,
think
and
it's like I think it's the 1st of December. I don't know. I think it's a week from yesterday.
yeah, I caught one of those in live. I was at the Meadowlands some years back. It was good.
Maybe
It
it's
was
not.
a
Hold on.
it was a
Let me
great
check.
game. Their teams are usually about even. Sometimes the Navy has a better season than some of the Army does, but the all-time matchup is Navy ahead 62-54-7.
No, it's
They
December 14th. We're 2
Oh,
weeks out.
that's fast.
December
Wow.
14th. Yeah. December
Wow.
14th at 3 p.m. So at
Army's
at Northwest Stadiums. No, Northwest Stadium.
No, that's interesting. Usually it's over here in Philadelphia or New York, at least as far as I remember, or
Prince
New Jersey.
George's County.
Yeah.
Prince George's. No, our friend of the show and my friend in real life, Kevin Wensing,
Okay.
Navy captain, retired, good all round egg. Kevin is the one that told me about it, and I should have paid attention. So anyway,
In
Kevin's involved in it. Kevin wanted us to help. It's
Oh,
like I'm
what
doing the Hillary Clinton like with a rag. Like, no, I'm serious. I read. Who asked Hillary Clinton that question about wiping the server when she did this? It
Yeah.
was our own Ed Henry. Ed asked that question of her. Did you know
Well,
that?
that's pretty cool. Yeah. So no, that's right. He did it. That's right.
Yeah, he asked
Now
that
that you've
question
jarred my memory on this one.
with
Oh,
a rag.
but I do have to go with
Good on
Army
you,
on
Ed.
this.
Yeah, good on you, Ed. That was great.
I do have to go with Army on this one. By the way, their biggest margin of victory ever, Army's, was 51-0, I believe, back in 1973. I don't think they're doing that now, but it looks like it looks like Army is going to take this one. That's
No,
my guess.
well, I don't know. Let's talk this. My Army experience is horrible, sexual discrimination. Well, I don't know what part of the Army you were in, because the part of the Army I was in, just saying, we had women integrated with us, and I joined in '81. My basic training, my drill sergeant was the first Sergeant Taylor, the first female drill sergeant in the Army. We were the first mixed unit, as in like half of the company was women, half were men. This is at Fort Gordon, Georgia, in 1981, in June of '81. So
Hmm.
I came up through it in an army where when men and women were treated as equal. I've been in combat with women. I don't necessarily think that I'm not as quite as extreme as Pete Hegseth on this. I don't think that we shouldn't have women in combat. I think the rationale for women in combat has to be justified. You can't just do it because you want to. If there's a need for women, then women can go serve. That's the way I look at it.
Um,
So, and I'm sorry if you experience discrimination, and I've come up. I've worked for females. What females have worked for me. I've worked for female generals. I know a couple who are kick ass, who are better than the other male generals. Uh, I know some who are way worse.
mhm.
There's no panacea. So there's nothing that's ever perfect. But yeah, Barb. Oh my God, Barbara Fast, General Fast. She was a kick ass female general, and I saw her jump on Air Force generals, not physically, you know what I mean. But she was a kick-ass general. So just say it. So I don't know what, but I had a good run, and right now I'm dating a Navy nurse. Right, she's a female. Last time I checked, and I checked just yesterday. So just saying.
Oh, all right. There's your morning. There's your morning breakfast
She didn't
conversation
change.
right
She
there.
didn't
Oh
change.
boy, you checked, did you?
You gotta check. It's like, are you sure?
Uh,
You know,
well,
nobody's transitioning today, I hope.
I'll tell you
Anyway,
what.
that is a joke, but I'm serious in a way, because she's been in the Navy for 30 years already. She's going to exceed me, Chris. I spent 30 and a half years. She's already at 30 plus. So I'm just saying anyway. My point being is that women, I I've served with women up and down the line, and I admire, respect, and date women. Hillary Clinton with a cloth.
Well,
So anyway,
what you're
go
saying
ahead,
is
Chris.
what you're saying is broads can serve, right?
Broad conserve. As a matter of fact, speaking of that, right here in Edenton, where I live, some friends are about to open a new cafe called the Broad Street Cafe.
Oh,
And
okay.
if it,
Give my regards
I'm
to Broad Street, by the way.
I will. Well, it's interesting because they're naming it after a broad. It's like, hey, I guess women are cool because they're naming it after a broad, right? Broad Street, right? They're all,
Yep.
broads are cool. Give my
Oh,
regards to Broadway.
Oh, yeah. Give my regards to Broad Street was a Paul McCartney album from the mid '80s.
Ah, uh, so you're gonna try to get Paul on the show next?
I would try. I could try that. That would be fun because I could actually juxtapose the two because the greatest ever and believe me, Beatles fans will not like when I say this. The greatest ever Paul McCartney solo song juxtaposes with what you do.
That's true.
The theme to Spies Like Us.
Oh, I that is a great movie.
How accurate was that movie, by the way?
So that's a great question for those who are paying attention. Spies Like Us is a 1985
I believe
movie
that's what it was.
starring
And the
starring
song
Dan
was a hit,
Aykroyd
by
and
the
Chevy
way.
Chase.
Yes.
Yeah, and it came out about the time we were. I was right before I went to spy school. It was 85. Yeah, and I remember my friend Dave Cutshaw, God rest his soul. Dave and I are very close. He was my first boss in the National Guard. I love Dave. He's a marvelous guy. Shout out a lot of people who there it is. A lot of people who watch our show know who Dave Cutshaw is. Dave was a fantastic human being. Anyway, Dave and I went to watch this before I went to spy school. So the answer is they make, I'll say this about the parody of spy school. They do a great job of parody of the spy school. We do some of the things like the beginning when they airborne into this to the school, and the ninjas. Well, there's no ninjas there. Just saying, they're there. They are.
You better
Anyway,
shut your mouth, mister.
but the one thing is true. The one thing that is accurate is the doctor scene.
Oh,
So I don't know if you have that.
doctor,
Uh,
doctor,
so
doctor,
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 doctor.
doctor, and
So
doctor.
so truth be told, we do that. We spies do that now. So what you walk into a room of other spies and we go into the doctor routine. Doctor, 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 doctor,
Doctor.
and doctor. Glad I'm not sick.
Yeah, I think Mash did that once with Major, Major, Captain, Major, Major, and we had a major breakthrough here.
Well, I think doctors are funny. Anyway, no, my friend Tony Kukolo, commandant of the War College, General Kukolo, we walked into an event one night, and there were several of us spies, and he walks up, and he says, "Doctor."
Oh, that would be great.
Oh, Tony, you got us down, don't you?
We do have a special guest tomorrow. Yeah, you did mention you
We
did want to
do.
mention a special guest
Go
tomorrow.
ahead. No, I do. I want to tease this, but we'll talk more about him in a second. But go
We
ahead,
have a
tease him. Yeah.
we have a fine gentleman from the Rasmussen organization that will tell us that will discuss how and why the liberal polls were so off the mark this time out. And
Yeah.
they've been off the mark for a very long time. I have my theories on this. I wanted to pass by him. I think I passed them by you in the past. Oh,
What's
okay.
that?
I'll give you one. You and
What?
I work. You and I work. Our Patriots work, right? We get
Right.
tired.
We all work.
We
Right.
get tired when we get home. We're either when
Right.
maybe we're cleaning up something. Maybe we're doing extra work. Maybe we're having dinner with our families. Maybe we are just unwinding and trying to think about what to do the next day.
Right.
These pollsters call up and try to get us into a long conversation. So what do I do when I see a pollster or some kind of political call or a spam call on the voter on the ID on the caller ID? I ignore it. Or if somebody says it's a
I
poll,
block it.
I
I
can't do
block
it
it.
right now.
Oh,
Yeah,
I block
block
it.
it. Yeah. So there'll never be. I don't think there will ever, in the age of caller ID, ever be an accurate poll, or accurate enough poll
Well, maybe.
in the
Well,
future.
we'll talk. We'll talk. We're
No,
having Mark. It's Mark's his name, right? Tomorrow we're having
right.
Mark on.
Yeah, and we work too hard to deal with this
So,
stuff.
well, you sent me an article this morning. It's from Restoration News. Why were liberal pollsters so far off? Again, I'll put it in the chat. And what you're saying is completely true, but I think it's more than that. And we'll talk to Mark tomorrow about this. I think it's more sinister. I think, to your point, we all come home tired, and the left basically uses that. They think, oh, everybody's tired. You're going to believe what we say. And I
Right.
think that's why the polls were so far off. And then Mark covers this. I watched, as a matter of fact, I saw this last week. I saw Mark talk about this, like, oh my God, we got to get this guy on.
Right.
Two things. First,
That's important. And
he
so
talked
he's agreed to.
about he blew their own horn, which I want him to do. He said Rasmussen was the most accurate other than, yeah.
Well, that's odd. A little more
First, I
lag
lost you.
again.
Can you hear me?
Yep, all good, all good. The lag is rolling. No more lag, and I think I hit the
Yeah.
wrong button here. So there we go. Why liberal pollsters were so far off again. You're right.
There it is.
Rasmussen
There it
tends to
is.
be more. I also wonder why Rasmussen tends to be a little more accurate than others. That's a good question too.
Because well, he'll go through that. Let's not steal his thunder. Let him
Right,
let him
right.
talk about that tomorrow.
Yeah.
But
There's some interesting
I
things.
do note that Atlas was good. He did, he says Atlas is good. He says that.
It's
Talks
shrugged
about,
though.
but the problem is now one of the things that I actually check out during election silly season religiously is Real Clear Politics. They attempt to be as balanced as you can be, because anything balanced by the left is conservative. Just saying, it's
Yeah.
like,
There's a thumb on the
but
scale. Let's put it that way.
yeah, it's like okay, anybody who's trying to be fair, but Rasmussen was fair anyway. He goes through and talks about why that is and what their philosophy was. So I think you all will learn a lot. We'll learn a lot more. We'll have some good dialogue on this. I think it's sinister. I don't think it's just, oh, we're just trying to do our best. They were pulling for the other side and trying to demoralize the conservatives. I think that's what was going on. So,
That's the plan, but the problem is that backfires because it makes people want to go out and vote more. They're thinking, well, let's see, if we go out and vote, then that takes that 1 or 2 points and negates them. So this
yeah,
this all backfired. It backfired in
I think so.
2016, and it backfired now. In
I
2020,
think so.
they had the ground game and the mail-in ballots. But you know what? Why bother seeking the truth? According to NPR CEO Catherine Marr. Think about this. Did you hear what she said the other day?
No, well, I did, but go ahead. Go ahead and play it for the folks.
Yeah, she was yammering on about something and going and pretty much upset about looking for truth in. Again, this is NPR, who, by the way, flat out refused to cover the Hunter Biden story.
And Wikipedia,
Right.
too. They're all right.
Wikipedia is not even. It was never about truth. It was about. Well, we'll get into that later. But let's hear what she talks. But
Yeah.
she does talk about Wikipedia in this as well.
But one of the most significant differences, critical for moving from polarization to productivity, is that the Wikipedians who write these articles aren't actually focused on finding the truth.
Exactly.
They're looking for something that's
Exactly.
a little bit more attainable,
Oh, yeah.
which is the best of what we can know right now. I
Okay, the
actually believe
best
that
that
they're
we
onto
can know,
something.
Tony. So, Tony, what is the best that you can know?
It's called Marxist propaganda. That's the essentially the rubbing of the news with sandpaper and taking the raw blood-soaked exposure and writing in communist ink on it. That's what it is. And let me be clear. Look, Wikipedia has become essentially the left's utopian view of the world. Like I've get like there's several of us who are conservatives. My Wikipedia is completely false. It's wrong. It's just flat
Yes,
out wrong, and they
it
won't
is.
fix it.
Yeah,
They won't fix it
I
because
found
it
out.
doesn't fit
I
their
found out
truth.
why.
Yeah. What's that? Why is that?
I found out why. I was actually doing a publicity for an '80s rocker back in the day, and
Yeah.
everything. Well, let's just say half of the Wikipedia page was completely wrong. So I was
Yeah.
partially tasked to fix that. Funny thing, I actually got myself to be part of that little conglomerate to help out with the Blackadder stuff.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
But
That's cool.
so this is back in the, I guess, the late 2000s, early 2010s. So I corrected the whole thing and said, look, the source is right here in an interview.
Yeah.
And I put it there. It's right. And they said, nope, you cannot, or anybody who represents the person cannot change, even if it's factual, cannot change and cannot
That's what I
change
mean.
the
That's what I
article.
mean.
Right.
That's what I
They're
mean.
lying. This is basically a closed community of a bunch of lefties who
Yep.
will tell people what they want to tell them, and they will vandalize. Some of these people will
Oh yeah.
vandalize a page. There's this. Remember that kid Andy No, the guy who runs the Post Millennial. He was a really
I
young
know
guy.
Andy. I don't know him, but I've been on the air with him before. Yes, I know who he
Yeah,
is.
he's a brilliant young guy. He runs the Post Millennial. He's the guy that
And
got
he's
beaten up by Antifa a couple
and he's
times.
gay, but nobody cares. Like we don't care. It's like be gay.
Oh,
We don't.
but the Antifa guys went 7-on-1 on him or something like that,
Yeah.
at least once.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, but there was a time in his page where the thing that said the Wikipedia page said flat out the man was a racist. Blah blah. The race, it was all vandalized. Even now, I was checking out his page just for laughs when you mentioned it. Um, they can't even figure out when he was born, either 1986 or 87. They call him an America right wing social media influencer. and going down.
He's a progressive who got tired of their BS,
Right, that's what it was. But nobody talks about
like
that stuff.
Tulsi.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and his coverage of Antifa and Muslims have been controversial. The accuracy and credibility of report has been disputed by journalists. Now, of course,
No, it hasn't.
that
No, it hasn't.
well, of course, no, it hasn't. You know why? It's not even cited. There I go. Now, of course,
Yeah.
they're accusing they're accusing him of setting up misleading or selective material. But if you looked at this, the uh, these sources are basically from left wing blogs.
Right. Of
So
course.
this is what Wikipedia is. It's a conglomerate of a bunch of lefties, and I guess they didn't put the video up. It's a conglomerate of a bunch of lefties who pretty much want you to know a couple of things, but don't want you to know everything. And they're information gatekeepers, if you will. But want to go back to the rest of what this woman said, because it's really
Oh, yeah,
horrible.
yeah.
If you think
Yeah.
about this, I remember she runs NPR.
That for our most tricky disagreements, seeking the truth and seeking to convince others of the truth isn't necessarily the best place to start. In fact, I think our reverence for the truth might have become a bit of a distraction.
First off, she has no reverence for the truth. This is an entity apparently controlled by the state. They didn't bother. Remember, this is an entity which did not bother reporting or even investigating the idea of the Hunter Biden laptop. And talk about her reverence for the truth. There is no reverence for the truth in
No,
NPR.
there's no
There hasn't
reverence.
been in ages.
No, again, and just citing for my own personal, but if you go to my Wikipedia, I just want to make sure it's like, I'm a retired lieutenant colonel. They don't have that. I'm a retired civil servant. They don't have that. I'm actually a producer and director. They don't have that. I actually have my own IMDb, right, Chris? You're aware of that.
Yes, you
Where I'm
do. And
credited I am credited with being a producer and director, and
Right.
they don't have that because it doesn't meet their narrative. It doesn't meet what. So this goes to the heart of what she's saying. If people are there. If you go check that out and bring up my IMDb, can you get that real quick?
Yes, I can do
It's,
that. There's a little
bring
more
up-
accuracy there, and the IMDb is not always
Yeah.
accurate either. By the way.
No, I do manage my own IMDb. Just saying, so
Oh,
that is
okay.
accurate.
Oh, good. Well,
Just saying,
but
but-
you're telling us what you want us to know now. I'm
Well, I'm
joking.
telling
All
you
right,
because I can back it up with facts.
I'm joking with
one
you.
of there it is. There's my IMDb. It shows the stuff that I've done. So it is what it is. Everything on that is backed up by others. Others have put stuff in. I just put it in context. That's all I did. And it's like Wikipedia won't accept the get this congressional record, the record of my career being read into the record by Walter Jones, Representative Walter Jones. They won't take that. They would rather call me a former reserve lieutenant colonel than instead of saying the truth about being a retired lieutenant colonel. Right there. You can see it right there at the top.
Yep,
So
there
I'm
you
just
go.
saying, just look at this as a micro example. It's like if they're willing to avoid just speaking the basic truth about my career, then they're willing to lie about everything, and they do. Right, Chris? I think that's
Right.
that's evident.
Right. Under the now, this is the trick. This is the trick they pull. If you go to a basic a Wikipedia page about a turtle, or maybe any kind of let's just say animal or something like that. I'm using animals as an example because it's very hard to dispute the truth about them. It's not political. So the non-political sites or television programs and that sort of thing, you can find out a lot of really interesting and accurate information out of them. So they want to take that reputation and use and juxtapose that to push their agenda, the leftist
Bait and
agenda
switch.
on. Yeah,
Bait and switch.
to push it when they do living people and historical figures. This
Yep.
way they can push their perspective on it. And you know darn well there are certain soon to be former vice presidents who actually plagiarized Wikipedia for her
Yep.
for a book. And you know she's not the only one. College kids, I'm pretty sure, use it for research. No joke.
Well, and professors have told them, and I think correctly, don't use Wikipedia.
Right.
Don't do it because
Now,
it cannot be trusted.
Wikipedia is generally false. I know they do what Wikipedia can do is point you to sources, biased or not, where you can actually do more research. And that's still pretty good. But nobody does that. I mean, I do, but not a lot of people do that. They bank on the idea that people trust them to look up what a cat is. then they figure, well, then we can look up historical figures or political figures that way,
What is a
and they can
woman? Do
form
they have
their opinion.
what is a woman? Do they have a woman? Because that's a big controversial issue now too,
All right, let's see. Let's see.
right?
That's actually funny. Let's try that.
It is funny.
Woman.
That's why I said it.
Yeah. Okay, woman Wikipedia. There we go. We do have it here. I will put it up here as a matter of fact. Yeah. So now we're going into a rabbit hole right here on Wake Up Patriots.
Woman.
What do you Patriots
Ooh.
think? Well, all right, sort of. But anyway, a woman is an adult female human. Okay, got that. Typically women are of the
Not
female
all the
sex.
time.
And they're in a pair of X
See, there you go.
chromosomes.
Second paragraph. They're already into the propaganda.
But that's the key. Typically, no, women are of the female. Not typically, it's true. More genuinely, sex differentiation of the female fetus
That's
is
right.
governed by the lack
Typically,
of
they
a
lie, which is
Right.
true. Typically,
Yeah.
that's right.
Oh boy, throughout human history, traditional gender roles with patriarchal societies have often
There you
defined
go.
and
See?
limited women's activities and
There you
opportunities,
go.
resulting
There
in
you
gender
go.
inequality. See, they had to put instead of actually defining a woman and everything else here, they had to put a political bend into this.
Wow. We should
Transgender
have.
women were assigned male at birth and have a female gender
See,
identity.
right there. There
Yep.
it goes.
Yep. And intersex women. No.
No. I'm with you. No.
So Wikipedia
So
is not a source, and if you plagiarize Wikipedia, that means you, my friend, are a moron.
literally. So I think our lesson for today is Wikipedia lies, NPR lies, and the left will lie as long as they think it benefits their cause, right? I mean, this is why we're circling back to the polls. The polls were wrong because they were projecting their aspirations, not
Right.
recording and reporting on reality, right? Is that a good summary?
It's basically their reality, and
Yeah.
they cannot stand to have that bubble they live in burst. In fact,
Right.
that is why a lot of these lefties have fled X after Elon Musk bought it, and most recently after the Trump election, because they
Yeah.
don't like the idea of anything of any feedback aside from adulation. They don't like it. They don't understand that kind of feedback because they think that anybody who doesn't agree with them is actually not intelligent, not educated. And they figure they flee to somewhere else so they can live in their bubble and pretend they're smart. And that's why Blue Sky is going to be pretty big, at least for the next 2 months, as the Jonestown of social media.
That's right. They're going to get over there and get all, in their little camps, and then some morning their version of Jim Jones. Who's that? Is that Stephen King? Is it Stephen King or who's their version of Jim Jones right over there?
Well,
right
I'll
now?
tell you
Stephen
this
King
one.
or Meathead.
I read the most popular, or at least the most followed account on that Blue Ski, whatever it is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. So you can leave
Well,
that where
then
it is. Okay.
Miss Cortez is going to give them the Kool-Aid and they're going to drink it.
So
Just saying.
okay. So maybe I'm wrong in calling Blue Sky the what's that word? The Jonestown of social media. It's the short bus of social media. All things considered, right?
Well, you can still drive a short bus off a cliff. Just saying. Maybe that's the good thing. It's like get them all in a bus and hey, we're going to go to the Grand Canyon, kids.
Yeah, here, have this
Hey,
Kool-Aid
look
first.
at this view. Let's go take a closer look.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Oh man. And one more thing. We do have a guest coming
Yeah.
pretty soon. That's going to be pretty cool.
Yes.
I did want to
AJ's
get
coming.
Yep,
Yes.
AJ is on the way in. We got a lot of good stuff with him. I have to ask you a question.
Go ahead.
The MSNBC and the liberals are going really upset about this whole joke meme idea that
I
Elon
know.
Musk
I love
might
this. I
buy
love this.
MSNBC. He's not going to waste his money on MSNBC. Why?
I don't
Why
know.
bother? But they take it way too seriously. Check this out. Rachel Maddow, who is probably the second dumbest person on this earth. I'm okay, third because I forgot about
He's
Rashida Tlaib.
He's within the top fraction of a percent of being stupidest. Just saying. So yeah.
Well, the only reason she's the second dumbest person at MSNBC is because Keith Olbermann has been gone for a long time. But here we go.
To at least 3.
Look at this. She's visibly upset. She-
Put up the graphic of this.
By the way, does she not remind you of Billy Idol when she talks? with the lip.
No, she
When she
reminds
talks,
me
she does the Billy Idol lip.
of a slow Elvis Presley who was kind
Ooh.
of de-bloated but stupid.
As Mojo Nixon would say, none of that fool Billy Idol lip either. But anyway, either way, it
Yeah.
works. Oh, what the heck just
Oh
happened?
my. Oh my.
I think I'm gonna have to hand this off. Yeah.
Oh, she's so upset. She's so sad.
So
It's
their
a meme. It's
world
a
is
joke.
crashing down.
Yes, and they
Their
don't even
world is-
understand
Oh,
that
she
he'd never-
knows.
right? He never buy the place in the first place. She
Oh,
took
I
a
don't
pay
know.
cut to stay there.
I don't
He's
know.
not going to buy that.
You
No,
know,
only
one
only
of the
an idiot would buy
lessons-
MSNBC.
One of the lessons I learned from interrogating people, just saying, and what is this? Anyway, one of the lessons I learned from interrogation is the threat of torture is much better than torture. And so the threat of buying is much better than being bought. Just saying, it's like, man, they're going to actually do things to actually, make people uncomfortable over there. I mean, come on, Chris, think about this. Think about the fact that you've got so many people over there who literally hate the ground that Elon Musk now walks on. They hate him. And the idea that he has the power, and he does, to just on a whim say, I'm buying your network.
Right.
And he could do it. And it's like the threat of buying is better than buying. Just saying, just lingering it out there.
Look, putting liberals in a tizzy is not difficult.
Oh,
It just isn't anymore. It is not. I will, but I would like to bring in AJ if that's all good with you here.
Oh yeah,
Because
please.
now AJ, welcome to Wake Up Patriots. Ed Henry's Wake Up
Hey,
Patriots.
good morning,
Tony Schaefer
AJ.
here. Yep.
Good morning, gentlemen. You guys
morning.
are having some fun here without me. What's
Oh,
going on?
I know.
We were.
Well, we're
So
going to
AJ, the last time I saw you was at our office at 400 North Capitol, like 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, either that or at a London Center for Policy.
That's
when
what I'm
Herb
saying.
was
It was
still-
our office.
Yeah,
It was our
yeah.
office at 400 North Capitol. Yeah.
No, I
So,
remember-
Good to see you again.
I remember AJ
Pleasure.
when you were the producer for all those shows at
sure.
the other network. I used to book people on all those shows. So we've known AJ for a long time. He's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, Ingram hired me when I was 24, so that's 20
Nice.
years ago.
Wow.
That's Abel Danger there, Tony. I mean, that's
I know.
that's
Well,
right
I
in the
don't
middle
know,
of it.
AJ. Did you see that? Speaking of that, real quick, I don't want to go down this rabbit hole. We'll do it another day. We'll get Chris Farrell on. After 18 years, SOCOM finally came back with the FOIA, answering the FOIA request
Oh my God!
for Judicial Watch, and it was 98% redacted.
Wow.
Oh my
I
God.
mean, you know what's funny though about that story, and the audience, I'm sure you've talked about it, at other times, but that was sort of some of the first embers of truth that there was that the deep state was real,
Yeah.
and that there was.
Oh, I know.
Right? I mean, this predates the Tea Party. It predates a lot of stuff, but it was one of these things, and like Kurt Weldon was called a lunatic, and all these different people.
Right.
And it's just amazing when you look at it that was sort of the first stirrings of some of the stuff that now we're all shining a light on a daily basis, right?
Right. Well, I appreciate you putting that context, because I think and Chris knows, like I was doing my job. I was told to go tell the truth. Like I had no dog in the
Sure.
fight. As a matter of fact, if you recall, AJ, it was a Republican in office at the time. It was Bush 43.
That's right.
So, I'm a Republican. It's like, I'm just going to tell what I know. And, in the end, I've talked to the folks here before. And again, welcome to folks. We have a live chat. We're going to talk. So Don Rumsfeld, Don admitted to me in the end, and Don and I were sitting there in the green room at 400 North Capitol. And we talked on a 9/11 anniversary. We were both going on air. And I said, I said, with all due respect, Mr. Dr. What did I say?
Secretary?
I said, Mr. Secretary, there's something between us. And he smiled real big. He says, yeah, I know, Tony. Abel Danger. He remembered. He remembered.
Exactly.
And so he said, why is that? And I
Right.
said, because they lied to you. He says, yeah, I know they did. I'm convinced that you were telling
But
the
see,
truth.
you were the first guy. I mean, look, you ran in the room and sort of lifted the skirt up of the Uniparty and
Yeah.
the deep state and the
Yeah.
swamp establishment whatever the hell pejorative you want to use. And it was one of those things that there's these sort of facsimiles that are the heads of the different departments, but there's this whole other operation going on, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, I was at a fundraiser for RFK Jr. and because we do PR for his super PAC and we did PR
Yeah,
for
we want
his
to talk
books.
about that. We want to talk about
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
And he told this story about how he had this dinner with Mike Pompeo, and Pompeo literally told him, "There's an entire section of the CIA. I have no idea what they're doing."
Yeah.
I mean, so
That's
like,
crazy and true.
What is that? I mean, it's just insane, right?
So I don't want to get into details of what I may or may not be talking to the Trump folks about, but I've already said, well, to your point, I know where they bury these things. They hide these things all over the bureaucracy. And because I was actually in some of those black programs, I know where they hide stuff. I think that's why they work so hard to make sure that I don't get back in government, because I was one of them. I know where they hide stuff. I know how they do it. And I think that's one of the things they're so upset with me about. It's like, how dare you turn on us? Like, dude, my job is to tell the truth and be loyal to the Constitution, not your phony baloney bullshit. We have a secret and we want to use that secret to maintain power, which is what they do.
Right.
So anyway, back to you. So AJ, thank you for being here. Let's talk about your book. Chris, do you have a thing for his book?
Well, yes, I do, as a matter of fact.
Well, good.
And
as
it's
a matter
a
of
great
fact.
one.
There
It's
it
the
is.
White Privilege album. I suppose you're a Beatles fan.
I am. I want to apologize to the
Number
I wanna
9.
apologize to the Beatles for that. Not to Yoko, though. We're never apologizing to Yoko.
They should apologize for that.
Well, so
That's
yeah,
right.
hell with
so
Yoko.
AJ,
apologizing.
so just for we're clear, you're more Mel Brooks than Yoko Ono, right?
Right. Well,
Oh,
yeah, I like.
And I'm more
little
the
Ricky,
Pete Best.
Ricky Gervais and George Carlin for sure. Dice.
That's right.
Dice. Guys. So it's called the White Privilege album, and yes, it's a take on the Beatles. We're having some fun with it. It's a political humor book, but it's also horrific. But if you guys look at that album, if you look at the book cover, which I did set it up to kind of look like an old school rap album.
Yeah.
Can you see Pink Floyd's The Wall by looking at
I do.
Because that is what I kind of modeled the design on, for sure. And Vince Everett Ellison gave us a nice forward. And don't ever forget, because I know they're in this audience, the subtitle is Bringing Racial Harmony to Very Fine People on Both Sides. And I know we've got plenty of very fine people in this audience. And I know Ed Henry
We do.
knows.
They're very fine people. Very fine patriots.
Absolutely.
And on
That's
all
right.
sides here, as a matter of fact, both sides of the microphone. There we go.
That's right. That's
So,
right.
well, one of the things I want to cover today is kind of where you started with. You live in a world where words are weapons, literally, and those weapons are used either effectively or ineffectively. And I want to start off with The View. No, not The View. MSNBC.
Sure.
Well, it's the same thing. It's two sides of the same coin. So on Joy Reid on election night said that Kamala Harris had run a quote unquote flawless campaign. Flawless, I tell you, flawless. So AJ, tell us what you think about the flawless Harris campaign.
Well, what can become unburdened by what has been, right? So she ran on two things: abortion and Hitler. So when you're running on abortion and Hitler, there's not much wiggle room. There's not much wiggle room for anyone else. She was invited, and look, she spent $1 billion running on abortion and Hitler.
Yes.
Right? $1
billion too.
Right?
Yeah.
And now she's in the hole. Now, I don't remember Barack Hussein in the membrane having to pay off Oprah, having to pay off Lizzo, having to pay off Springsteen, having to pay off Beyonce and J-Lo and Katy Perry and Gaga.
Harrison
But
Ford.
apparently, this was a giant grip. This was a giant 100-day money laundering operation that Walter White would have loved. That the boy that Marty Bird on Ozark would have loved.
Oh, they wouldn't have been that
Right?
far in the hole, though. So maybe not. But I get where you're going.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, where the hell does money go? She was guys. She was spending.
Well, I think it's a grift.
Oh my God, she was spending $450K
Well,
a day. to
It was
put
a
her
money- it was
face
a
in
money
that
grab.
dome in Las Vegas.
And she paid off all her Hollywood friends because she again this woman is going to come out a winner anyway because she's going to be just adulated for the next 4 years. Her status will be elevated by the left in Hollywood. She's
Really?
going to get her own
But-
talk show or whatever
Well,
else. Yeah.
Maybe, but let me ask you.
Yeah.
So, AG, let me ask you another question because one of their guys, Zogby, one of their board members, alluded to what you just said. He said, "Well, they spent all this money on ads, and all these consultants came out of the woodwork and made all this money." And he said they were making, and you know the business, 20% kickbacks on all these ads.
Absolutely.
It was a grift. It was a grift.
I mean, I'm in that
Come on.
world. I'm in the marketing world.
Yeah.
But content wise,
Yeah.
look,
Oh, the content sucked.
She's the product of, second, third, and fourth wave feminism.
There you
And
go.
she was given an opportunity to fly to Austin, Texas, and sit for 3 hours with the most popular male or any podcast in the freaking world.
Oh,
Now,
yeah.
was she more afraid of Joe Rogan than she was Brett Baer? Because it looks like it. It looks like.
Oh, yeah.
She was
I mean,
afraid of
that's what it
Kamala
looks like.
Harris. She was afraid of
Right.
Kamala Harris. And I
Well,
believe
I mean-
here's the thing. Her if I remember correctly, her ultra left progressive members of her campaign were upset about the idea because they hate Joe Rogan. But the idea is, I believe it's more or less she's afraid of screwing up and making herself look even more foolish. I mean, she does.
Well,
for 30
sure,
minutes, she's embarrassing.
That's the key.
It's
That's
live.
the key.
too.
So AJ, I have a theory on this. I'll run it by you. So look, I ran for and won local office down here in Trewan County. I'm a commissioner now. At least I take the oath a week from today. And and I'm asked to talk all the time. I don't need a script. I don't need a speech because I know from being a guy who communicates for a living what I want to talk about because I have core values. Do you think part of this was because she has been so flagrant in actually establishing any core values? That's why she was so afraid to talk because there's
Sure,
nothing
and
there. Do you think that's part of it?
Absolutely. She's a studio gangster, and the
Yeah.
African American voters knew it. They knew it. They know that she was a phony. One day she's from a middle class family. The next day, Barack Obama's telling the brothers in Pittsburgh she's from the neighborhood. Or she's going after Biden in that debate, saying she was in a forced busing situation. Well, which one was it? Was it Marin County's forced busing? Was it McGill University?
County.
I mean, was it McGill University, fancy neighborhood where her mom was getting a doctorate? Was it the forced busing there, right? In Toronto? I don't think so. But look, when this type of feminism, and look, she's, I told people, she got under Trump's skin in that debate, and that's what she's an expert at. It's why she couldn't find a husband until she was 50 years old. Okay. She's one of the people JD Vance is talking about. She's never given birth. She's never given birth, just like Kagan and Sotomayor have never given birth. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's just natural selection. It's all good.
Oh, sure, that's fine. But if you
Well,
spend,
AJ, but
yeah.
But when do you think she's going to talk about her first? Do you think it's already passed? She's going to talk about her first drive-by shooting with her Glock in Philadelphia. Is that coming? Is that still on the horizon?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, she's going to run. I'm basically going to run for governor of California. Let me just say that, Tony, on what you just brought up, they had her in bubble wrap. They had her in styrofoam peanuts. She didn't get any batting practice. She got no BP. Guys like you and me, right? Trump, JD Vance.
We're always out. Always
Right.
out. Yeah.
We're always
Always out.
ready to go, right? And that's part of the problem. And some smart Democrats, or at least sort of liberals that believe in free speech, like Bill Maher and a few others, they realize that we have to engage the other side. We have to engage everyone, people. We don't look like authentic humans. We spent too much time talking to Liz Cheney and no time talking to the Plumbers Union of Philadelphia, right? They don't do it.
Well,
Right,
they
so
took
they
that for
don't-
granted.
Right.
So let's talk about that because
Yeah.
you're close to RFK. I know Tulsi. Look, I don't know if you knew
Well,
this.
she's my
I've been
client
advising.
too.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Cool.
I saw
I
that.
did her
Okay. So
book.
Tulsi
Yeah.
and I are friends. So Tulsi, I was advising Tulsi when she was still a Democrat. Dennis Kucinich came to me right before the North Capitol after a hit and said, "Hey, would you advise a friend of mine?" It's like, I'm a think tank guy, of course. Who is it? Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi? It's like, yeah, I'd like you. I've asked her and she's willing. It's like, okay, I'll reach out to her. So I've been talking to her for the past, uh, uh, 15 years. So my point to you is
Wait a minute.
RFK.
So you're her Russian puppet master. Okay.
That's right. You broke the code, comrade.
Right.
Comrade.
You outed Tony. There you go, AJ.
I know. Here we go. Yeah.
That's going to be in AJ's
Now,
next book, I guess.
I know. I talk to
Outrageous.
Putin every night. I talk to him when I do my prayers. I talk
That's
to
right.
Putin.
That's right.
Anyway, my point being is that they had an awakening, recognizing the very thing you're talking about. It's like their party is empty. Their party has nothing. Their party is the party of essentially the World Economic Forum and grift. So my point is that Tulsi actually went through this transformation. I'm still dealing with people on my X saying, "Oh, we don't think it's real. It's real. Just let it go."
It's real.
Tulsi's
I spent 6 months with her this summer.
Yeah.
I was her handler at CPAC. We did her book. We made a New York Times bestseller list. I talked to her entire team. I'm communicating with them now because there's people that want to send me resumes. And no, it's 100% real. I mean, look, Reagan and Trump were Democrats.
Yeah.
Elon Musk
Good
was
for
a
you.
Democrat.
Yeah, thank you.
Right.
Right? I mean, come on. I mean, let's be honest here. And just remember, like if Trump was like George Steinbrenner or like the commissioner of a baseball team, and he was the Yankees GM or the owner, and he wanted to rip off a small market team like the Tampa Bay Rays or the Oakland Athletics, can you imagine doing a deal where you send the other team Bill Kristol, Jonah Goldberg, Adam Kinzinger, and Liz Cheney, and in return you get Elon, RFK Jr., Tulsi, and Naomi Wolf?
I know.
Can you imagine? It's the greatest ripoff in history, right?
Oh, yeah, that would be. That's even bigger than Tom Seaver for what was it? Doug Flynn, Dan Norman, Pat Zachary.
The Mets Cardinals trade, right?
Yep.
I mean,
I want to ask that question.
Mets Red. Yep.
Yeah.
So that's my next question. So how much do you think the embracing of the Cheneys, Liz Cheney, hurt the campaign? Because I never. It's like, are you nuts? So why do you think they did that? Do you think that they really thought that would benefit them? I mean, that was nuts.
Well, Raggedy, look, look, she's got one brain cell, but it worked in this moment. Raggedy Ann, which was the former press secretary, Jen Psaki, Raggedy Ann made a great point. She was on MSNBC and said, look, we put way too much stock in the fact that we had this little group of Republicans led by Liz Cheney and the Never Trumpers, and that we thought that they had a constituency. They do not have a constituency. But you know who Trump went and got that does have a constituency? He went and got all the Ron Paul people. He went and got all the disaffected Bernie people that knew that throwing in with the McCains and the Cheneys and the Romneys and the backbenchers from the Bush administration was a small group of elite Beltway snobs. And I live here. Okay, these dorks are my neighbors.
Yeah.
So that's who it is, right? And he went and got all the RFK Jr. people. So he put together this multi-ethnic, ideologically diverse coalition, but that overlapped like concentric circles on the big things, like freedom of speech, freedom of movement, the language, no stupid wars, anti-political correctness, anti-wokeness. And it mattered. It mattered big time. And they thought the minutia of, Hitler, abortion, 4 phony indictments, 2 phony impeachments, 2 assassins on the field. They blew it because they became the party of elite white snobs on the coasts. And that's why he didn't just make red states redder. He made blue states redder.
Yeah, or at least purpler. Yeah, but there was one positive bringing Dick Cheney and the Cheneys into the Democrat side there. The Kamala Harris campaign was really helped by them in one aspect. So Tim Walz could learn how to hunt a little bit better from Dick Cheney.
Right.
So that's about it.
Shoot himself. Elmer Fudd there shooting his friend in the face. No,
What do you mean? I'm the anti-Tommy Tuberville. I was a high school football coach.
Tony, how does Walt shoot that gun when he's got that pinky in the air all the time? He walks around. He walks
People
around with the
misinterpret
pinky in the
this.
air. How does he do that?
I love the smell of kickback on my nads in the morning.
That's exactly. See, Chris got it right there. This is the leftist version of essentially a what do you call it when you get your nuts cut off? vasectomy.
A liberal, a soy
This is
boy.
the liberal vasectomy. They're going to basically shoot the gun and
being
and,
neutered.
you know,
Yeah, no, he's a
neutered.
eunuch. He's a eunuch.
Speaking of neutered, though, I want to ask you, AJ, is there a link between Dick Cheney and Cardi B regarding the WAP, the WAP? You know,
Ugh.
Dick Cheney and, because they seem to be in the same party, right? Dick Cheney
Right.
and
I don't know.
WA.
I don't know. There
what?
might be. Cheney would have been cool to see Cheney in that video crawling across the floor with Megan Thee Stallion, right? That would have been amazing. If you could get out of the wheelchair.
See, they marketed it all wrong. They marketed it all wrong. They should have hired you.
Even Jon Stewart, when he was talking to Pinky and the Airman, said, "Do we really need the Cheneys to win this? Do we really need them?
That's a great question.
Do we have to freaking go there?" See, look, one of the reasons you're not seeing the rioting in the streets right now, and don't get me wrong, they're like an STD. They'll flare up here, during the inauguration. They'll be back. They're like a human fever blisters. They'll be back. But I think they all kind of know that the studio gangster, Kamala Harris, the first this and the first Indian and the first I make a curry and I don't make a curry and I like jerk chicken and I don't eat jerk chicken. The first everything. I think they know that she was an empty suit. I think they do. And they're all also sitting around going, where did those 10 million votes that Biden got when he was in the basement plugged into the extension cord go? Where did they go? Where did they go? I have no idea. They just poof. They went in. They just vanished into thin air.
Well, I have a question for both of you, and this might drive us down to a deeper rabbit hole. I gave this a lot of thought. The Democrats and you guys really, and your conversation here, AJ, really put the hammer on this with Tony here. Think about it. Over the last, let's say, 8 years, the Twitter elite, the people who ran Twitter and ran Facebook and ran a lot of social media, put their thumb on the scale where liberal opinions, and this has been proven, liberal opinions were scaled higher and algorithmed higher so they would look more popular than they really are. Bots were chasing them around. People who put conservative thought out there were being ganged up on. And the idea was anybody on social media would look at it and say, well, maybe the left opinion is much more popular and something we should what's the word? Not advocate to, but serve, if you will. The idea is this. Come 2020, when people still think the election was overly legitimate, in 2024, where they're thinking, well, over the last 8 years, social media is saying the majority of Americans think this way. Let's double down on that. We can't let Kamala Harris stray from that. Nazi, 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 Russia, 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 Hitler, Hitler, Hitler. That's the way to go because social media, which they didn't realize, falsely put the thumb on that scale, which really screwed up that party right and left in their direction. Think about that. What they did, what the technical elite did, or the big tech elite did, screwed up their own party and their own agenda in the long run.
But they don't care. They don't care.
Yeah.
But they did. Guys, they lost big though. They lost big, and that's why her message.
I can't underestimate more how the red pilling of Elon Musk and the buying of Twitter and his involvement here. It's a woke Waterloo moment. I can't underestimate it enough.
I agree.
It's like watching another inventor from Philadelphia get involved, Ben Franklin. He didn't have to get involved. He had a wonderful life, but he got involved. Musk, Franklin, there's been others over the years that have gotten involved. Mark Twain got involved with the Lincoln administration and the Grant administration. There's every once in a while you get one of these timeless, icons of the age that says to themselves, I have to get involved here, otherwise it's over. And America has a unique ability, like spinning up white blood cells to fight an infection, to produce these people. And that Musk being involved here, I can't underestimate it enough because his involvement allowed a lot of the other tech bros, right? And they're all very competitive and they want to pretend they're alpha dogs, but these are very smart, rich nerds. They want to be with the cool kids. Right. So Musk being involved here, and I guess Mark Zuckerberg is the last person in America to discover the DOJ lies to people. Okay. He took his football and went home. He released that letter. The laptop from hell was real. They told me it was disinformation. I used Facebook against Trump. I'm going to stay out of it this time. So in a way, Musk cleared the field of pretty much everyone except Google and YouTube. And he brought along him and Peter Thiel and these other guys, Jeffrey Sachs and others. They brought some of these other guys with them because Musk has made wokeism uncool. He has made DEI and ESG uncool. And that's an unbelievable thing. And that's why, Joe and Mika are making the pilgrimage. That's why if they want to die on the Hill, if AOC wants to die in Nancy Mace's bathroom, I say let her. Because the people, the regular folks, they don't want this.
I'm telling you, if you go into Joe's bathroom, I think it's that cabbage he eats that probably just kills people. That smell of cabbage.
That's why he has his own bathroom.
That's another
there.
story. I don't want to go down there today.
Yeah.
I don't want to go down. Yeah, but speaking of that, so I want to leave you. Well, Chris, show the thing again. So go out and buy AJ's book. It's a great book.
Right.
Pick it up.
Have a white privilege
is it on Amazon?
It's in Amazon. I'm going to put up the link I'm going to put up the link in there. Okay.
Yeah.
I could put the link up. The other thing. Yeah. So one last question. But that's the point, AJ. Seems like that didn't help Mika and Joe. Their ratings continue to drop. MSNBC continues to drop. Chris and I were having fun, as you know, with the meme of Musk looking at buying MSNBC using the example of a young woman.
Bought it and he gave Rachel Maddow's show to Alex Jones. That
oh my God.
Or give it to Steve Bannon, or give it to the two of you.
Bannon would have
yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, look,
it would be great.
This was a Waterloo.
Well, anyway,
this was a Waterloo for the wokesters, but they are not going to go away because cultural Marxism is not going to go away, and that's what wokeism really is.
Right.
Yeah, of course. Well, we'll come back. We'll have you back to talk more about that if you'd like. I'd love to promote your book towards Christmas and have people go out and buy it. So, AJ, after all these years, good to see you again. Thank you for being here on the show. And by the way, please think about coming back and doing the Hard Truth, which is a longer format. We go in a lot more detail, probably sometime, and we'd go through this whole media thing. You being a media guy and the mistakes they made.
I'll do it.
And then what to do next, because like to your point, woke ain't going away. It's just going to it's going to take a step back. As of this morning, AJ, by the way, moveon.org sent out their vicious talking points to start getting the left all lined up. At 4 a.m. this morning, the points went out. A source of mine just told me. So
Happy Thanksgiving from George Soros and the gang. That's right.
That's right.
Or Alex now. What was it? Isn't it Alex that's in charge right now?
Yeah.
He married Uma. Yeah. Aren't they? Uma, do you think, AJ, do you think that Uma still has contact with Carlos Danger? Like, do you think they text each other?
That's right. One of his different Twitter avatars. That's right.
That's right.
Maybe.
That's right.
You never know.
All right.
Well, gentlemen, look, have a good Thanksgiving. Have a good Thanksgiving.
You too. We'll see you
AJ,
soon.
we'll talk. We'll get you on the Hard Truth. There we go.
That'll be fun. All right.
All right, gentlemen.
Before we go, folks, I got to tell you about who pays our bill here, which is colonialmetalsgroup.com. So is Paul on this week or not? I don't think he's on this week, is he?
Paul is on the first of every month now, so he'll be on.
That's right. I keep forgetting.
The week after Thanksgiving.
Anyway, but in the meantime, there's Ed Henry's smiling face. Remember, he did the polish with the cloth, clean, So he did that to Hillary. Just remember that. That's Ed. So if nothing else, support Ed by him calling out Hillary with her cleaning the server, wiping the server. So anyway, so Paul Stone, check out Paul Stone and colonialmetalsgroup.com. Go to colonialmetalsgroup.com/Ed-Henry or call them 800-805-4034. Again, we've talked about this. It's important to understand we have no idea what's going to happen next year in the economy. The best thing you can do for you and your family is diversify your investments. Have things which are available to you no matter what happens. You will win no matter what if you've got metal. Winning with metal is the way to go. Look at metal such as gold and silver that they will offer you, and you can get it. There it is. Scan that right there. Do the scanning thing in your phone. Al Gore's interwebs will take you there, right, Chris?
Yeah, that's right. That's Al Gore's interwebs. That's right.
Enter
Yeah,
interwebs.
I thought I invented the interwebs, but anyway,
Well,
I'll
we all
digress.
invented the interwebs, according to the left. We all matter, right? Kamala said that. Remember? We all matter.
Well, we all matter except for us, I believe. Except for anybody who disagrees with her. That's
That's
it.
right. Go check them out, folks. You will go right. You won't go wrong. Speaking of going, we got to go. Right, Chris?
Yes, I say. But again, check out the QR code. We'll be posting this during the program as well. So it's very easy. This way, instead of going all the way to Colonial Metals Group, just get that phone, click it on, and it's very simple. There we go. Even I
Thank
can
you
do
for
it.
being here.
Right.
Thank you for being here. Appreciate the Patriots paying attention. If you can go check it out, check out Paul. He supports us and he supports you. He supports all of us. So, well, another quick hour. The time is gone.
That was
Wow.
way too fast. That was
So
like,
we have another. What's that?
that show was faster than a White House intern at the during the Clinton administration. I mean, come on. That
That's
was
right.
Pretty, it
It's
was pretty fast.
and better manners than Monica Lewinsky. Just saying.
Oh! You have the crowd on their knees.
I did not have sex with that woman, Monica Lewinsky. Yeah, famous last words there, Bubba. Anyway, we got to go. We'll see you tomorrow. We got a great show coming up with our friend from Rasmussen. We talked about media today. We'll be talking about the polls tomorrow. It'll be great. We'll have a great show with some humor and no Wikipedia. Don't go to Wikipedia, folks. You're warned here. No NPR. Well, unless you want to laugh. If you want to laugh, go check it out. But don't take it seriously, right, Chris?
If you want to run for office as a Democrat, you can plagiarize Wikipedia. That's
right.
the rule now.
That's
You
right.
can do whatever you want.
All right. So, well, anyway, we'll see you all tomorrow. Have a good afternoon, and we'll see you tomorrow morning.